Let's talk about pirates and renegades. Hey there, Philip here from Manning the Fort, and as I post this, we're awaiting the launch of Kill Team Nachmund. Both teams have been confirmed, and we've seen what terrain we're getting in the box. Today, I want to go into why this is the first box set for the current version of Kill Team that I'm actually planning to buy. Each of the previous box sets has had something that just didn't do it for me. In Octarius, it was the very orky terrain that would just feel weird to me if I had two non-orc teams fighting over it, and in Chalnath, it was honestly just the way the novitiates looked. In fact, I did a whole series of videos on how I made my own novitiates team to use instead, links to that below. With this box, though, I actually want everything in it. Despite how cringy the overly piratey marketing copy is for them, the Eldar Corsair models look pretty sweet, and I think they do a really good job blending the aesthetics of the Craft Worlds, Drukhari, and the Harlequins. It's honestly the first time in a couple of decades that I can remember actively wanting an Eldar model. As for the Sector Mechanicus terrain, opinions are apparently a little bit divided. I saw Glass Half Dead say that he was a bit lukewarm on it and would probably sell his, but I happen to like it as part of a larger collection, and I already have a fair bit of the Sector Mechanicus terrain as is, so it just gives me more options to vary up my boards. There are a couple of pieces in particular that I'd been considering buying already, as they seem like they'd make great little mini vantage points to scatter onto a board. But let's get into the real star of today's show, the most recent releases as of last week, the Chaos Space Marines. Now, there'd been leaks for a while suggesting that we were getting Chaos Marines in this box, and it would make sense given the big 40k Nachmund box contents, but part of me held a sliver of doubt that it might be new cultists. After all, they're kind of hard to come by right now. That said, I'm pretty happy with what they appear to have done with these new Marines. A growing trend in Kill Team has been the inherent advantage of larger teams over more elite ones in many scenarios. Part of that comes down to the fact that, with the exception of Warp Coven, all of the non-compendium teams that have been released so far have been in the 10 to 14 miniatures range. A couple of the compendium teams, notably Harlequins and to a lesser degree Talons of the Emperor, still seem to be in decent shape, but the lion's share of higher performing teams come from the box sets and White Dwarf updates. The shiny rules upgrades that all those teams come with have been mostly inaccessible to the more elite factions. The Chaos Marines in this box are an indication of that trend changing going forward. The other big problem elite teams have is what I'd refer to in Dungeons & Dragons as action economy. No matter how big and scary a boss monster is in D&D, the players are probably going to get to act 4 or 5 times for every time it gets to go, with some notable exceptions. That's also true to a degree for elite teams in Kill Team. A team of 5 or 6 Space Marines with 3 actions is just not going to be able to do as much as a team of 12 to 14 miniatures with 2 actions each, even accounting for things like Overwatch. Now, the image previewing the box on Warhammer Community shows 10 Chaos Space Marines on the board fighting the Corsairs, but my suspicion is that's to illustrate how many you get, not how many you can field at once. At least I really hope that's the case, because 10 Space Marines with anything like their normal stats would just be bonkers. Now, after combing through the pictures, it seems pretty evident that what we're getting is similar to what we got with the Chalnath Pathfinders, a standard box with an upgrade sprue. The thing is, this upgrade sprue looks pretty sweet. The deviations from what you get in a standard box of Chaos Space Marines include the Reaper Chain Cannon, a giant 2-handed axe, the bits to make the Balefire Acolyte, and an assortment of other heads and combat weapons. The inclusion of the Chain Cannon is simultaneously really cool and kind of hilarious. I honestly don't know how it is now, but last edition, when the rules for it dropped, that gun was flat out amazing in Big 40k, and the Havoc's box, the squad for which it's primarily meant, comes with exactly one of them when you need 4, meaning the eBay bits market for them was and continues to be kind of insane. So if you get a Nachmund box just for the Corsairs, that Chaos upgrade sprue could recoup a lot of what you spend on it. Beyond all that, assuming you can only field 6 or 7 of those Marines at once, which seems like the most likely outcome, it means we'll have the option to swap in specialists from a roster without having to buy or convert a bunch more models. That's something that hasn't happened with a non-compendium kill team since the Commandos in Octarius. It took 6 months for us to get individual boxes for Vetguard, for example, so barring the secondary market, you're stuck with making some really tough choices out of the box for a lot of the teams. Another really interesting thing about Nachmund is it seems pretty evident that both teams come with a Psyker. That's not super surprising given the factions we're dealing with, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. One of these Corsairs definitely looks like a Warlock, and I'd be shocked if the Balefire Acolyte didn't employ some kind of psychic or psychic equivalent shenanigans. Now, I don't make Games Workshop news videos often, and when I do, it's because there's something I'm genuinely excited by. As of the end of February, when I'm recording this, we're still waiting on quite a few rules reveals, official release date, and the price tag. Now, my hope is this will cost about the same as Chalnath, but given the recent announcement about across-the-board price increases, that might be a foolish hope. If it's over the $200 mark, it's definitely going to dampen my enthusiasm quite a bit, and I might genuinely reconsider whether I want to buy it or just swipe a Corsair team off eBay. Now, while I'm not on the full-on GW hate train, I have to say I have become increasingly cynical about their business practices over the last year or so. That said, I am interested in doing more kill team videos going forward because I really like the game, and skirmish games in general are my preferred way to play these days. If and when I do get Nachmund, I'll be painting them up for the channel. Also, there are a couple of other skirmish games I might be covering in the near future. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know down in the comments. As always, I'd appreciate it if you like the video and subscribe so you're more likely to see my content in the future. If you haven't seen any of my painting videos, you can check out this one, where I ask the question, how many metallic paints do we really need? Until next time, keep running the gauntlet, and thanks for watching.